In this video, we will be looking at images of three Roman emperors, Augustus, Trajan, and Constantine. They were some of the emperors who ruled over the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire began in the late 1st century BC with Augustus and ended in 476. Roman emperors erected monuments to themselves throughout the empire. Augustus, Trajan, and Constantine each had different views of their roles as rulers. Their sculpted images reflect this. Augustus, the first Roman emperor, came into power after a long civil war. Consequently, he saw himself as a bringer of peace and prosperity. He also regarded himself as the first among equals. The Arapakis Augusti, or the Altar of Augustan Peace, was built in Rome, probably to commemorate one of Augustus's peacemaking campaigns. This rectangular structure, with an altar inside, measures approximately 12 by 11 meters. It was built between 13 and 9 BC. Marble reliefs on the upper parts of the shorter sides feature mythological scenes related to the foundation of Rome. The upper reliefs on the longer sides show Romans gathered to watch Augustus making a sacrifice at an altar. Augustus appears only once. Unfortunately, there's not much of him left. But even when he was whole, he did not stand out. He is neither at the head of the group, for instance, nor is he at the center. And several of the men standing next to him on the right look away from him, directing our attention rightward to the rest of the group. This non-dominant image of Augustus conveys his view of himself as first among equals. He looks lifelike and idealized. That is, his face shows a specific physical likeness, but the face is youthful. Augustus continued to look youthful in all his portraits throughout his reign, which lasted more than 40 years. As emperor, Augustus was head of the Roman army, but he saw himself primarily as a peacemaker. Trajan, on the other hand, is first and foremost a military man who aimed to increase Roman territory. He succeeded. The empire reached its maximum size under Trajan. In the year 113, a 40-meter marble column was erected in Rome to commemorate two of Trajan's military campaigns to what is now Romania. The column glorifies the exploits of the emperor and the Roman army. There are more than 2,500 figures participating in scenes arranged on a spiral. The spiral, which is more than 200 meters long, is read from bottom to top. Roman soldiers are shown hard at work building camps and bridges and fighting with the inhabitants of the lands they are about to occupy. Such varied and detailed activities make the scenes come alive. Every so often, soldiers pause to listen to Trajan's speeches. The image of Trajan appears many times, but he appears less lifelike and more hierarchical. That is, he clearly looks more important than his men. This is done in three ways. 1. By dividing the scene into horizontals. Rank-and-file soldiers gather at the bottom. Trajan and his officers stand higher up. In other words, a clear separation is established between Trajan on the hill and the ordinary soldiers on the ground below. Second, by making Trajan bigger than anyone else. Trajan is carved in a higher relief, and he takes up the most space. He extends his right arm to the right and stretches his right leg to the left. He's also the tallest. And third, Trajan is often the most central figure, so he is also more important than his officers. All three characteristics make for an imperial image that is more hierarchical and less lifelike. But, because all the soldiers with Trajan differ from one another in appearance and pose, we are tempted to linger on each one. Because of this, we take our time to get to Trajan. The hierarchical style reaches its full flowering with Constantine in the early 4th century. Constantine saw himself as Lord and God. His images reflect this attitude. The Arch of Constantine in Rome is a large triumphal arch commemorating Constantine's defeat of a rival for the leadership in 312. An inscription says Constantine won with help from divine inspiration and greatness of mind. There are 2 marble panels above the side arches on the north facade. They show Constantine with the Roman people. This is one of them. Constantine appears in the center of a crowd of Romans gathered to hear him speak in the Roman Forum. Unfortunately, his head is now missing. He stands in a low-walled enclosure, separated from the 2 flanking groups of ordinary people. We move quickly to Constantine because the 2 groups of ordinary people do not hold our attention for too long. That is, they all look similar, and almost all of them turn their heads, directing us to Constantine. Constantine is also shown superior to the more important men with him in the enclosure. That is, he is carved in the highest relief and takes up the most space. He is also the most frontal. The only 2 figures who match his prominence are 2 statues of seated gods at the ends of the enclosure. So, of all the people in the scene, Constantine is most like the gods.